We are now joined by Richmond. Head coach Aaron Roussel and student athletes Maggie Dugan and Addie Budnick will begin with the opening statement from Coach.
First off, I want to thank everybody associated with NCAA committee, everybody that set this up. I thought everything that ran through this for our team and for this department through this tournament was top-notch. Kids had an amazing experience, felt big time. Everything was awesome. So to everybody, NCAA and UCLA, I think y'all knocked this out of the park and gave us an amazing experience. So very grateful for that. Hats off to Corey and to her team. You know, I think for them to play as well as they did today, and for us to still play really well and make it a game, and it was a game. You know, we'll get to our kids here, but I give a huge credit to UCLA. That's a very, very good team. That they had a lot of pressure. You know, would have liked them to have an off night and go the other way, and they didn't. So I think they're a very talented team. Corey's done an amazing job over the years. Very grateful, and her kindness to all the other coaches out there. So proud of them, happy for them. But first and foremost, for me, very proud of our group. You know, that was thinking about the last 2 weeks and probably even more than that, the number of times I've thought about having to say goodbye to this group was hard, emotional with myself and probably with some select others. Just could not imagine having to say goodbye. But holding it together in the locker room, I think a huge part of that was just how our kids persevered and played this weekend. You know, that Friday night win, to have the first ever win for our program in program history, for these guys to have that experience Friday night, to celebrate that the way they did, for them to have this memory as a group together for the rest of our lives, I think probably take some of the sting out of it tonight. But even on top of Friday, and you can do the coach thing, right, of like, hey, just take the third quarter away, but like that's the God's honest truth. Like our kids battled tonight. Like they belonged on the floor with the best team in the country, #1 team in the country tonight. We said this, and as painful as it kind of felt and looked, optics was, you're right over there? Okay. All right. I think from the optics of it, right, you're going through that second quarter and first half, and it's Lauren Betts getting a lot of points, Lauren Betts getting a lot of rebounds. I felt we weirdly could withstand that if they weren't making threes. And then that three-point barrage happened in the third quarter, and she was still getting what she got. And then on top of that, the other kids were making threes. And we didn't, right? Like, I thought we played really well. I thought offensively we got a lot of great shots. Missed some layups, missed some threes. Like, that stuff happens. It just seemed to coincide with those guys kind of playing at their best in the third quarter. So tonight aside, I could not be more grateful to these guys for allowing me to be a part of this. And when I say these guys, there's a lot of others too, right? Our department, our administration, the pictures I saw from everybody back home on Friday night, the communication I've gotten, pictures I've gotten from all across the country, like Spider Country, Spider Nation. This was awesome, you know, and there's more of this to come. So thank you.
Questions for the student athletes first?
Hi, I'm Charlotte Moore, FI 360 News. This question is for Maggie. Maggie, you had a great game against Lauren, especially in the first two quarters. You definitely picked which shots you wanted to take. What was the breakdown, though, in the third quarter when they held you to, like, 2 points for the first 6 minutes?
I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to them. They're a very athletic, very disciplined basketball team. I mean, I got hot early, and they adjusted at halftime and only held me to 2 points in that third quarter. So, I mean, a lot of credit to them. I think we got stagnant a little bit in the third quarter, but that was just us not making shots and them making shots. And, I mean, it happens. It's basketball. It's a game of runs, so can't think about that one too much, and you just got to keep moving on and take the next possession.
Thank you.
Dimitri Dorlis, the Mighty Bruin. For Maggie and Addie, even despite like the length and Lauren Betts just going for 30 points, you guys only were outscored by 2 in the paint. And I think offensively, you guys found a lot of holes in the UCLA defense that you were able to exploit. Do you want to talk about that? And kind of, was that something you saw in film, or is that something more that was faith in your offensive system?
I mean, they were pressuring us a lot, and they were also switching and taking away the arc, so we knew that the post was going to be open. We're not necessarily posting up bets down there. We don't really have an advantage, but we knew that was going to be open. I think we did a good job cutting, moving the ball. Mary did a good job attacking the post, too, at the beginning. So that's just how we play. When we move the ball and the post is open, we're going to get those cuts. We're going to finish around the basket. And, I mean, she's an All-American for a reason, but I think to say that we were only outscored in the paint by 2 points is a pretty cool stat.
This question is for you, Maggie. LT Wilson, TD Sports, TV1. You guys have set the bar for your program, the fact that you got the first win for your program. Do you feel the same way now that you expect to see other Richmond teams make it to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool thing. I don't think it's really sunk in yet what that means to the school and to all of us and, you know, the university as a whole. I think that this definitely sets a standard for where we want to be in the future. I think this is definitely a goal that everybody in this program, even when I'm gone and Addie's gone, like, this should be a goal that everybody wants to, you know, get to. You don't see mid-majors coming in and making it past the first round very often, so I think that was really cool and definitely just showed what we are and, like, what we're capable of. So I'm very proud of everybody. Mm-hmm.
Hey, ladies. Miriam Swanson, Orange County Register. Congratulations, first of all. And I just wanted to ask, what was the experience like playing against Lauren, a player like that?
I mean, she was really good. We really didn't have an answer for her. Obviously, like, she had a huge size advantage on us, but like Maggie was saying, she's an All-American for a reason. She's really good. It's really tough to guard her down there. If you front it, she's going to throw it over you. If you're behind, she's going to bury you. So she really took advantage of that, and she had a hell of a night, and I'm sure she's gonna continue to do that throughout the tournament.
Yeah. Any more questions in the room? We do have one question on Zoom from Natalie. A reminder to mute yourself.
Hi, Natalie Heverin with The Next. For Addie, you know, what have the last 5 seasons at Richmond meant to you? And for Maggie, what has Addie meant to you and the program in your time here?
I mean, it's been a great 5 years. It's been incredible to just represent this university and play with people I love. I couldn't imagine it any other way, especially getting to this stage. Obviously, we lost, but I'm so proud of this group, and this program means everything to me. So I'm excited to watch from the stands next year and just see where else this program goes. I know that this is not the limit, so hopefully they can make it to the Sweet 16 next year. Just keep building from there.
I don't know if I could really put into words what Addie's meant to me these past couple years. I'm so thankful and grateful that she decided to come back for her 5th year, giving me one more year to play with her, selfishly said, but she's held me accountable when I needed it. She's encouraged me when I needed it. She's just a 1 in a million teammate. I don't know what I'm going to do without her next year. But yeah, I mean, she's one of a kind, and I couldn't be more grateful and honored to play aside her these past 3 years.
Any last questions for the players? Student athletes, you're dismissed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Coach?
Hi, Coach. This is Charlotte with FI 360 News. Coach Close was very praising of what conversation you guys had earlier today, and she talked about having good colleagues. Would you care to share just what you poured into her, or what you might have said that you couldn't share with us?
Yeah, I'll say this. I mean, I think obviously when you're coaching at the levels that I've been at, right, at Division III, the Patriot League now here, and I think starting to be able to compete with some higher levels. I think we go about this in a way that we think is the right way to do it. I have no idea how predominant that is at the higher levels. I don't know, and I'm not making any accusations, but I'm very proud of how our administration handles things, how our players handle things, and from afar, I think I've always thought that Corey does that exceptionally well. And so my conversation with her was just an admiration, maybe hopefully turned into a mutual respect, but just admiration for how she carries herself, handles her program. But probably just more so, and again, I can't even say young anymore because I think, you're getting a little bit older now, but, coming into this profession at the levels I've been at, you're always trying to find people that you feel like do it the right way. And for her to have the success and be the National Coach of the Year, I think is a cool thing. She's given back to young coaches a lot. That's kind of been her thing. She's given. She's a giver. She's seemingly kind of the first one to step up and give back. And I wanted her to know that was noticed and appreciated.
Any more questions for Coach?
Haley Sawyer, SoCal News Group. I'm sure you expected UCLA to try and chase you off the three-point line tonight. So when that happened, what were some of the in-game adjustments that you guys tried to make, and how did the team respond to those?
Well, it's not the first time that it's happened, so I think maybe there's a little bit of, we can go back to our experiences throughout the year. Obviously when you shoot the way that we do, and especially early in the season, we were putting up some numbers, and things were going really well, and then people start to take some things away from you. For us, it's knowing that you're still going to get stuff at the basket. I think we'll be the first to tell you as a staff, everybody looks at the three-point shooting, but we're a program that's looking for the exact opposite. We're trying to puncture the paint. We're trying to get stuff at the basket, and hopefully those three-point shots come from that. So I think it was the right game plan. I don't think there's anything with that, but I felt like we were still scoring, and I think that was the big thing for us is let's get easy baskets. If they're going to take away the arc, they're going to have to exert a lot of effort. I commend Lauren Betts, man. I think just catching her, she's first off an amazing young woman, but was applauding her for her efforts today. And I think our goal was just like, I was hoping she'd get a little tired. And to her credit, maybe she did, but she didn't show it. I think some of that today was there's only so much you can do from a defensive standpoint, right? There's only so much you can do when you're forcing a miss, and she still goes and gets it. But I think she said that's the most insane defense I've ever had to play, chasing it. So I think that was our goal. It just didn't always result, and I think that's more of a credit to them and how hard they played today, because I think when we are able to do that to other teams, you see that on the offensive end, and it drains people. They have some depth, which was helpful. Them playing for what they're probably playing for here over the next couple of weeks probably drove them and was reminded of them at halftime. But I think our players did that really well. I think we found the holes in the paint. We still scored. I think somebody said it here, but for as much as Lauren Betts did in the first half, we were outscoring them 20-16, I think, in the paint the first half. I still say that the story of it, and as painful as it was to watch her, gobble up every rebound and have the numbers that she did, I still thought we could survive everything except for the arc, right? We knew they were going to take away the arc. We had to make some gambles to take away the inside, which opened some things at the arc. So it was one of those, they're taking away the three, we're giving you some, but we still had to win the arc. That's an uncomfortable position to be, and I think that was probably more so the tail of the tape lies there. You don't want to get outscored 27-6 on second chance points, so maybe that's another storyline. But I thought our effort was there. She's really good.
Dimitri Dorlis, the Mighty Bruin. Coach, to kind of follow up on that, we talked a lot about how Lauren Betts was able to score, but even outside Lauren Betts, they only had about 8 points in the paint comparatively. Can you go into more detail kind of how you were looking to defend all that? Because it looked like even when Betts was getting the ball, you were throwing multiple defenders at her and just trying to get the ball out of her hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I think, when we're trying to collapse a little bit and take away the paint, that also doubles to take away some penetration spots. Kiki Rice is an incredible athlete, incredible player. They're doing this right. So when I say this, they're doing this right. They're doing everything. They play off of Lauren. Like, those kids are really good. They know what they are. But obviously when you're centering your offense around somebody in the paint, it is hard for others to get into the paint and score. So I think that's the nature of their offense. I don't think they did it wrong today because the other kids weren't scoring in the paint. I'm guessing that's kind of how it happens, right? She's got her stuff there at the basket. her defender is going to be around the basket, so maybe not, isn't as much room to navigate for other people. But I thought the other kids got some offensive rebounds, putbacks when time was big. Some transition stuff. I mean, Kiki still got to the basket. I mean, there was still some pretty strong takes to the basket. So I thought we did it well. We just had to not give up the threes, and I think some of that was some late rotations. Some of that was some gambles. Some of that was water finds its level. They're good shooters. They're going to make some of those. We knew that was going to happen. It was the perfect storm for them. They played really well. They got what they got at the basket. They got enough at the arc, and that's hard to chase that number when they're putting up 84.
Blake McCormick, Richmond Athletics. Coach, just the journey for you to this point and seeing, this group develop, how fun has it been to take this team to this journey and making Richmond history?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the history part is what's cool. You don't do this for other people outside the program necessarily, but seeing the groundswell of people that really paid attention to Richmond women's basketball this year was pretty awesome, right? You don't do it for that, but that's been great. I think you have a group, and I think that came across of how much pride they have in the program, but how much pride they have in the university, how much they've enjoyed being a part of the build, and how much pride they have in what's going to happen for Addie, what's going to happen after this. Even talking to their parents out there, like they were a part of building this, right? And so now the next group is a part of spreading their wings and doing this even more. I think there's still other goals out there. Just because this was the first time we won a tournament game doesn't mean this has to be Apex Mountain, right? I think we can build off of that. I think 2 years ago everybody thought, hey, this is a great season, and well, no, but we've gotten better every year that we've been here. And so I still think, hate to think about pressure because obviously there's some pressure this year, but, I think we've established kind of what we are, and we've established expectations. Forever be grateful that this group exceeded and continued to build, but the two things I'm most grateful for is just the experience I got to have with these kids. They're amazing, amazing young women. I said this Friday, and I hope this comes across as a positive, but the disappointment that we had drove what happened this weekend. But the fact that we were able to have Friday and Sunday is what this team deserved. They deserve to have the adulation. They deserve to have the experience. They deserve to have the forever moment that they will think about this at every wedding, every reunion, everything else, that this team had this. And hopefully they're going to Sweet 16s to cheer on the next group that does it, but they're going to feel that they were a part of this. And that's all you ask for, right? Is an amazing experience for the kids you're coaching.
Any more questions in the room? We'll go to Natalie on Zoom.
Natalie Heverin with the Next. Can you just talk about the impact of the seniors, whether it's Addie, who came in during COVID and has been with you for 5 seasons, the seniors that came in 2021, or the grad transfers that you have?
And sorry, Natalie, I heard the first part of impact of Addie and through COVID. I don't want to not
sorry.
answer.
To players that came in 2021, and then all of your grad transfers as well.
Yeah, I mean that's the hard part of all of this, right? Is obviously it ends, and probably the emotion that I've felt is, having to say goodbye to Addie Budnick for everything that she's done for me and for our program. So that was always going to be hard. Very grateful, as I said, for what she's done. But there's 5 others that probably played their last college basketball game today. Who knows with NCAA and everything else, but probably played their last college basketball game. Some of those kids I knew for 9 months, man. It doesn't mean that doesn't have an impact on my life, and it didn't mean that they, Allie Jimenez was I think she committed to us at the end of May. There's a room full of her teammates that know that none of this works without Allie J being a part of this. So Addie knows that. So I think there's just a gratefulness that, college basketball's changed, okay, whatever, but proud of Addie, experience with Addie, Katie, all of this. I mean, Anna Camden came back from a gruesome injury, and none of this works without them. Steph Oderkirk was an important part of what we did, Faith Alston, the history I have with her and getting to coach her, that's the hard part. But I think, as I said earlier, the sting goes away a little bit because of what we now have after this weekend. So grateful for them. Natalie, again, we've talked about Addie for probably 5 years, right? And so she's a special one. Maggie said it. She's one of one with regard to teammates and so many other things. But room full of grateful people. But I know in this room, back home, everybody that's associated with Richmond, Addie's made a huge impact on their life and on the university.
One there, unless you have any last closing remarks, Coach.
No, I mean, again, I just very grateful for this group. Held it together in the locker room. Commend myself for that. Didn't see that one coming. But I'm one lucky coach, man. I am one lucky coach. So very grateful.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.